Hi guys, it's Joel here from GamesMaster alongside Mr. Dave Meikleham from Official PlayStation Magazine.
Hello.
Hello everybody, and we have just had a long hands-on session with the Destiny Early Access. And I think it's safe to say we both liked it, yeah?
Yes, I liked it a lot.
Well, you're a big Halo fan.
You're not allowed to say that. Official PlayStation.
You used to be a big Halo fan until you got, redeemed.
Until I got the Sony lobotomy.
Yeah, until you had the Sony lobotomy. How did you think it had did you think it had Bungie hallmarks?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the DNA of it feels very much like the Chief. Everything from, the very sprawling outdoor environments to enemy AI. Like, once again, the AI, like Halo, was a big hallmark of what the Covenant used to do. They're very good at coordinating together in terms of their space and flanking you and really using space imaginatively, and vehicles again, which have always been a big thing of Bungie's past. Now you've got the Sparrow, which is your little hover bike Sparrow. You can essentially conjure from your hand by some sort of magic.
Well, it's your ghost, essentially. You bring up your ghost and then he somehow makes a bike appear, and you can just kind of go anywhere. Like we were just tearing around on the Sparrows for a while, and you can even drive them indoors, which I found kind of remarkable. There seemed to be nowhere that kind of spat us off and said, no Sparrow for you.
Big jumps.
Did some big jumps, yeah.
Up several times.
By the time I actually got into the cave we were supposed to go, and you'd already cleared up, which was good. But yeah, I mean, I played it previously at Bungie about 2 or 3 months ago, but we did a sort of more funneled mission. This time you and I had a good hour or so just on a sort of patrol, kind of just buggering about in the world.
To be honest, probably a couple hours.
And I mean, it's just I couldn't get over how big the environment was. Like there was so much, and that's just one level of what's going to be, this whole galaxy. We were in old Russia on Earth, and there was loads to do. Like we picked up loads of sub objectives. There was like assassinate this dude, investigate this area, kill this many so and so's, collect the other. Like it just seemed kind of. You could just have hung out in there forever. Very
seamless as well. There are no obvious loading times.
No, nothing at all like that. And yeah, you could just kind of pick up objectives from where you want, and yeah, there were kind of enemies scattered in little pockets.
What I was really surprised about is that there's a really overt RPG element to it, because I mean, I think we've all known this, but when you actually get hands-on with the game, is it the tower, the main central structure?
So basically, like you create your character, and you can. Another thing that was really impressive is you can upgrade or change your equipment at any time, like mid mission or on the fly. But in between missions, you can fly your little spaceship to the tower, which, as you said, is very reminiscent of the Citadel in Mass Effect. So it's basically, it suddenly jumps to third person, which is a little bit unnerving, but it's kind of this floating space station type thing, although it is actually on Earth, full of like merchants and people to talk to, and there we can, well, what you did is immediately spend all your money on a load of guns that you didn't know what they did. But you buy guns, you can buy armor, you can get your ship repaired or upgraded, you can like receive messages. I think you can pick up missions there as well.
Yeah, you can collect bounty missions.
Yeah, bounty missions, that was it.
You can also dance on tables, which I did for about 20 minutes.
A lot of table dancing.
Which reminds me of PlayStation Home.
Yeah.
It's got its own running man.
But good. Yeah, and like you collect, in missions you collect these things called engrams, which are essentially anonymous green blobs, until you take them to the tower, and then you talk to a guy called the Cryptarch in the tower, and he basically takes the box off and shows you what's inside, and then you get like new weapons, new armor and stuff like that. But what you said is absolutely right. There's so much depth to the character customization. Like even in, in total we probably played 3 or 4 hours or something. I must have collected 20 guns and like 15 pieces of gear and like just loads and loads of stuff. So it's got a real loot stream appeal to it, like when people play Diablo and get obsessed, or Borderlands.
Yeah, even. If you've got any sort of OCD about hoovering things up, then you'll be obsessed.
I mean, the good thing here is it's got its own private loot stream, so you don't have that thing you have in Borderlands where someone nicks a really good gun that
a piece of the pie.
Pops out. But yeah, I mean, to me, it did really feel like kind of Halo's shooting and sort of sci-fi environment with the Borderlands co-op, which is like something of a dream team, right?
And I think what Halo, and I think Halo was always the kind of class leader for weapons, and I think Destiny's really taken that mantle all the weapons, there's a real large variety of them in terms of pulse rifles, kind of more human automatic assault rifles, sniper rifles, shotguns, and they all feel like really a best of Halo collection. They're all really intuitive to fire, and the reload animations are all velvety smooth, and there's just a really pleasing sense of force behind them, and that also extends to character movement as well. There's a real athletic quality of characters because you've got a double jump, which you can kind of string it on for a little bit because you've got kind of like almost like a hover in your boots, so you can really move around the environment very I mean
it's worth saying there's three classes. There's Titan, Warlock and Hunter. I was a Titan and you were a Hunter, and they do vary slightly. Like the Titan has this kind of almost jetpacky kind of hover jump thing, whereas I think the Warlock has a sort of massive double jump, and the Hunter's one slightly different again, and they also have their own supers. So I had this really cool jumping double fist slam melee thing, which is called Fist of Havoc, and you had the golden gun.
Not the cheaty GoldenEye one, no job on the stairs, but a really powerful like a pistol Magnum thing. It's like you get 3 shots from it, and it's like huge damage. Those
are all brilliant. Like I've used all 6 of them over time, and they're all really good fun to use. So the characters kind of differ in that respect, and then obviously they differ in as much as you bolt on whatever kit and weapons you want. And we only played between like levels 4 and 8, and we already saw loads of the guns, and they felt great. So as you progress further and get the real meaty bastards, it's going to be a hell of an arsenal that's available to you.
I guess the only slight negative at all from our time with the game was just a balancing issue when we got to what I thought was a boss, and I actually discovered it was only a sub-boss.
Yeah, so we played the same strike mission that I played a couple of months ago, called the Devil's Lair, and you basically walk through it and have to get to a boss. But about 2/3 of the way through, there's what looks like a boss. It's like this big 6-legged tank thing. And when I played it before, it took like 2 minutes to kill. You and I must have been chipping away at it for
40 minutes.
40 minutes? Yeah. I mean, it was preposterously hard.
Our first time out, we were doing it with another man who we'd affectionately named Captain Diphtheria, and it took us fully 25 minutes.
Yeah.
He must have had about 5% of his health bar left. We're almost doing like Russian roulette of 2 of us being down, and the other man having like frantically scramble around the environment to revive, and then just one point he killed us all.
Because as long as one of you are alive, you can keep going. If you all die, you get reset, and that did happen to us, and it was pretty infuriating. So it made some Dark Souls bosses look easy. That's how hard.
And ironically, the final boss, who was a great big glowing eye orb thing, he was a lot easier.
That felt about right. That was challenging, but it didn't. It took about 10-15 minutes, and we did it, and it was fine.
What I found really exciting was there was one area where we just happened across a lot of other folk. Like there was about 10 of us in one environment. Yeah, basically, it really felt organic and emergent.
It's got this really nice matchmaking thing where if you're in the same world as other people, you'll see them until you go to a certain point in your mission, and then it closes off the server, and you go back into your private 3-man team again.
Well. It
really hides it well.
That way.
Yeah, it's absolutely seamless. I mean, you and I were saying yesterday, it does things that. It sounds a bit stupid, but it's like it feels next gen in as much as it does things that games couldn't have done on previous hardware. Like it's the matchmaking and the seamlessness of it, and the kind of enormous environments with no loading screens. That all felt like a really next gen thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think from that perspective, it's really exciting. Like there's a little bit of balancing to be done, but it's so solid as well.
And what we were saying for like an early access, it's this might change when it eventually gets into the wild, but from what we played of it, it was incredibly stable. We had no connection problems. Bungie's got a good history of really sorting out their online infrastructure, and that was
we're 3 months from release, and I didn't see a single glitch, a single bit of like technical shoddiness, anything. It was remarkable. So, I mean, I'm super excited for it. Like I think this is going to be potentially the biggest release of the year.
It's, for me, I think certainly all the delays we've had recently, this is now the game we beat in 2014.
Yeah, I think that's right. So, hopefully we'll have more Destiny coverage to come, and you guys will get to go hands-on sometime soon.